Hello everybody. So today we're going to review for the Chapter 8 test. And let's get started. We're on page 351. And number 1, what are the next 4 multiples of 1/8? Well, remember that it's basically counting the numerators. So if we go 1 times 1/8, we get 1/8. 2 times 1/8 would be 2/8. 3 times 1/8 is 3/8. 4 times 4/8 is 4/8. And 5 times 1/8 is 5/8. Number 2. Marta is making 3 servings of fruit salad. She adds 3/8 cup blueberries for each serving. Her measuring cup holds 1/8 cup. How many times must Marta measure 1/8 cup of blueberries to have enough for the fruit salad? Shade the models to show your answer. Alright, so she's making 3 servings, and so that's why we have 3 fraction strips of 1/8. And in each one is going to take 3/8 cups. Okay, so that is a total of how many eighths? 3, 6, 9. So 9/8, which is the same as saying 9 times 1/8. So she needs to measure 1/8 cup 9 times. Number 3, Mickey exercises 3/4 hour every day. How many hours does he exercise in 8 days? So 8 days of 3/4. Okay, 8 times 3 is 24 over 4. So 24/4. I can divide that. 24 divided by 4. Remember, this is how we change a fraction that's greater than 1 into a mixed number. 24 divided by 4, that's 6. So actually, we don't have a fraction part left over. We just have 6. So he exercised 6 hours in 8 days. Number 4. Molly is baking for the Moms and Muffins event at her school. She will bake 4 batches of banana muffins. She needs 1 3/4 cup of bananas for each batch of muffins. Okay, so 1 3/4 cups of bananas. She's making 4 batches. All right. So Molly completed the multiplication below and said she needed 8 cups of bananas for 4 batches of muffins. What is Molly's error? All right, so let's see. 4 times 1 3/4. Okay, that would be correct because we have 1 3/4 and we're making 4 batches. And she then said that's 4 times 8/4. Well, let's see. What is 1 3/4 as a mixed number? 1 is the same as 4/4 in this problem, plus 3/4. So 7/4. Okay, so she made a mistake right there, right? What is Molly's error? Molly's error. Molly used 8/4, but 1 3/4 does not equal 8/4. It equals 7/4. What is the correct number of cups Molly needs? Well, 4 times 7/4. Okay, 4 times 7 is 28 fourths. 28 divided by 4 is 7. So she needs 7 cups of bananas. Which fraction is a multiple of 1/9? Okay, well, we can eliminate a couple, okay? Because remember, multiples of a fraction, the denominator does not change. So that's 9/12 cannot be. 9/12 cannot be. So all the rest, would they be multiples of 1/9? 2/9? Yes. 3/9? Yes. 4/9? Correct. 9/9? Yes. So 4 of them would be. Number 6. Mimi recorded a soccer game that lasted 1 2/3 hours. She watched it 3 times over the weekend to study the plays. How many hours did Mimi spend watching the soccer game? Show your work. So she watched it 3 times, and each time was 1 2/3 hours. How many hours did she spend watching the game? So 3 sets of 1 2/3. So the first thing I want to do is change the mixed number into a fraction greater than 1. So 1 2/3 is the same as saying 3/3. 3/3 equal 1, so I'm just renaming the 1 as 3/3, and I'm going to add the leftover 2/3. So 1 2/3 is the same as 5/3. 3 times 5 is 15/3. 15 divided by 3, 5. So she spent 5 hours watching the game. Number 7. Leo is comparing shark lengths. He learned that a horned shark is 2 3/4 feet long. A blue shark is 4 times as long. Complete the model, then find the length of a blue shark. So the horned shark was 2 3/4. We know the blue shark is 4 times as long. So we have 4 boxes to represent the 4 times. Every one of the 4 boxes will be 2 3/4. So we're basically saying 4 times 2 3/4. Okay, so let's change 4 3/4 to a fraction greater than 1. Okay, so here we have 2 sets of 4/4. So let's rewrite the 2 wholes. I'm rewriting the 2 wholes as 4/4 plus 4/4. So 2 3/4 is equal to 11/4. 4 times 11 is 44 over 4. Divide that to turn it back into a mixed number. Can I share 4 tens with 4 groups? Sure, 1 time. I have no tens left. I do have 4 ones I need to share, and that would also be 11. So blue shark is 11 feet long. Number 8. Joel made a number line showing the multiples of 3/5. Okay, so I see 3/5, 6/5, 9/5. So 3, 6, 9. All right, so that's fine. The product 2 times 3/5 is shown by the fraction blank on the number line. So what is 2 sets of the 3/5? 1, 2. So 6/5. Bobby has baseball practice Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Each practice is 2.5 hours. Bobby says he will have practice for 4 hours this week. Without multiplying, explain how you know Bobby is incorrect. Well, okay, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Each practice is 2.5 hours. Well, 3 times 2 equals 6. So he had to practice more than 2 hours. I mean, more than 4 hours. How long will Bobby have baseball practice this week? All right, so we have 3 sets. Every practice is 2.5 hours. Change the 2.5 into a fraction greater than 1. The 2 holes here represent 2 halves plus 2 halves plus the leftover 1 half. Okay, remember, 2 halves is 1, 2 halves is 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2. All I'm doing is renaming the 2 as fraction parts. So 2, 4, 5 halves. All right, so 3 times 5 halves. 3 times 5 is 15 halves. Now we're going to turn that back into a mixed number. 15 divided by 2. I can't share 110 in 2 groups, so I'll share 15 ones instead. 7 times 2 is 14 with a remainder of 1. So 7 1/2 hours of practice. Number 10. Look at the number line. Write the missing fractions. Okay, well, we notice that all of these have to be sixths. So that's going to stay the same. We're counting by 1/6. 2 6, 3 6, 4 6, 5 6, 6 6, 7 6, 8 6, 9 6, 10 6, 11 6, 12 6. Okay? Don't make that hard. Anna's Dotson weighed 5 5/8 pounds when it was born. By age 4, the dog weighed 6 times as much. Fill each box with a number or symbol from the list to show how to find the weight of Anna's dog at age 4. Not all numbers and symbols may be used. So we know that he's 5 5/8 pounds at birth. At age 4, he weighed 6 times as much. Okay, so we know that we have to use the number 6. And we're going to use times because it's 6 times as much. 6 times as much as what? 5 5/8. Fill in each box with a number or symbol from the list to show how to find the weight. So that's all we have to do. We don't even have to tell the answer. Just what would we do? Well, and I would multiply 6 times 5 5/8. The dog's going to weigh about, a little over 30 pounds because 6 times 5 is 30. Number 12. Asta made a fraction number line. Made a fraction number line to help find 3 times 4/5. Okay, select a way to write 3 times 4/5 as the product of a whole number and a unit fraction. So remember, unit fraction means the numerator must be 1. Okay, so which of these in the box is equivalent to 3 times 4/5? Well, what's 3 times 4? That would be 12/5, right? So what's another way of writing 12/5? 12 times 1/5. Number 13. Yusuf wanted to give 1/3 of his total toy car collection to 2 of his friends. How many of his toy cars will he give away? He wants to give away 1/3 to 2 of his friends. Well, that's just 2 times 1/3, which is the same thing as saying 1/3 plus 1/3. So just 2/3. 14. Select the correct product for the equation. Well, 4 times 5 is 20/8. 4 times 4 is 16/8. 15. The lengths of different types of snakes at a zoo are shown in the table. So we have 3 snakes. They are called Kenny, Bobby, and Puck. And the type of the snakes are a Kenyan sand boa, a ball python, and a blood python. And their lengths are 1.5 feet, 4.5 feet, and 7.5 feet. All right, so Bobby is 4 times as long as Kenny. So Kenny is 1.5, and they're saying Bobby is 4 times as much. Well, let's see. 1/2 can be rewritten as 2 halves plus 1/2. So 3 halves times 4 is 12 halves, which would be 6, because 12 divided by 2 equals 6. So that would be false. 6 times. Bobby is 3 times as long as Kenny. Bobby is 3 times. Okay, so Kenny is again 1.5, and we want to see if he's 3 times as much. In this previous one, we were basically saying that Bobby was 6 feet long, and he's not. He's only 4.5. All right, so 3 halves times 3 is 9 halves. 9 divided by 2, I can share that 4 times into each group. 4 times 2 is 8 with a remainder of 1, so 4.5. So that's true. Bobby is 4.5 feet long. Puck is 5 times as long as Kenny. All right, so Kenny's the popular one to compare. So 3 halves for Kenny. That hasn't changed in any of the problems, right? And we're saying he's 5 times. So 5 times 3 is 15 halves. Let's turn that back into a mixed number. 15 divided by 2 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14 with a remainder of 1. So 7 and 1/2. Is Puck 7.5 feet? Yes, he is. So that's also a true statement. Now, finally, Puck is 2 times as long as Bobby. Bobby's 4.5 feet long, and they want to do 2 times. Well, 4.5 is 9 halves, because each of the 4 holes has 2 halves pieces. So 4 times 2 is 8 halves, plus 1 more is 9 halves. 9 halves times 2 is 18 halves, which equals 9. So is Puck 9 feet long? No. So that's false. Hank used 3.5 bags of seeds to plant grass in his front yard. He used 3 times as much seed to plant grass in his backyard. How much seed did Hank need for the backyard? So 3.5 bags for the front yard, 3 times as much for the backyard. How much did he use for his backyard? So 3 times 3.5. So we want to change 3.5 to a fraction greater than 1. Every whole number has 2 halves. So 3 times 2 halves is 6 halves plus 1/2, the leftover 1/2. So 7/2. Okay, so 3 times 7/2 is 21 half bags. Let's turn that into a mixed number by dividing 21 by 2. I can share 2 tens with 2 groups. That leaves me none. I'm going to bring down my 1. I can't share that, so I'm going to show that with a 0. So we have 10 and 1/2 bags. 17. Jess made a big kettle of rice and beans. He used 1.5 cups of beans. He used 4 times as much rice. 4 times as much rice as beans. Okay, so beans, 1.5 cups. Rice will be 4 times as much. Okay. And so our math problem would be, math equation would be 4 times 1.5. Well, let's turn 1.5 into a fraction greater than 1. So we know in this one whole it has 2 halves. So 2 halves plus 1 half, 4 times 3 halves. 12 divided by 2. 12 halves is the same as 12 divided by 2. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. So 4 times 1.5 equals 6 cups of rice. All right, 18. Mrs. Burnham is making modeling clay for her class. She needs 2/3 cup of water, warm water, for each batch. She has a 1 cup measure that has no other markings. Can she make 6 batches of modeling clay using only the 1 cup measure? Describe 2 ways you can find the answer. So she should be measuring in with 1 cups. It says she's going to make 6 batches. Well, let's first find out how many cups that is. So 6 times 2/3. Okay, 6 batches, 2/3. So that would be 12/3. 12 divided by 3 is 4 cups. So yes, you can, right? If I have 4 cups, that means 4 holes, and a cup is a hole. So yes. What's another way of showing that? Okay, so that's one way. What's another one? Well, we could draw a picture, right? Describe 2 ways. So we could say she's making 6 batches. 2/3, 2/3, thirds, thirds, 2, 4, 5. Okay. I actually want to make 1/3 boxes. Okay, so what did I do? I'm representing the 6 batches, and now I'm going to shade 2/3 of cup water. So 2, 4, 10, 12 thirds, which equals 4 cups. And you could represent that by counting sets of 3/3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So we have 4 sets of 3/3. All right. The modeling clay recipe also calls for 1/2 cup of cornstarch. Nikki says Mrs. Burnham will also need 4 cups of cornstarch. Do you agree or disagree? Okay, so she's still making 6 batches, right? And we're saying a half a cup of cornstarch. Well, 6 times 1 is 6. Divide by 2. What's 6 divided by 2? 3. 3 cups. So no, I don't agree. Three cups will be needed enough. 19. Donna buys some fabric to make placemats. She needs 1/5 yard of each type of fabric. She has 9 different types of fabrics to make her design. Use the following equation and write the number in the box to make the statement true. So 9 different types, 1/5 each. So that just has to be a 9 there, right? 9/5 is the same as saying 9 sets of 1/5. 20. Mr. Tuyen uses 5/8 of a tank of gas each week to drive to and from his job. How many tanks of gas does Mr. Tuyen use in 5 weeks? Write your answer 2 different ways. Okay, so 5 weeks, 5/8 each week. 5 times 5 is 25/8. So that's one way. I could write it as a fraction greater than 1, or I can turn it into a mixed number, and they would be equivalent. Can I share 2 with 8 groups? No. So I'm going to share 25 ones. I'm going to put 3 ones in each group. 3 times 8 is 24, with a remainder of 1. So 3 and 1/8. Remember the remainder over the divisor. Okay, number 21. Rico is making 4 batches of salsa. Each batch needs 2/3 cup of corn. He only has a 1/3 cup measure. How many times must Rico measure 1/3 cup of corn to have enough for all of the salsa? So 4 batches, 2/3 cup of corn each time. So first let's figure out how many cups of corn he actually needs. So 4 sets of 2/3. 4 times 2 is 8/3. So he needs 8 times 1/3. So he's going to have to fill it up 8 times. Okay. So that is it for chapter 8. Make sure you practice your skills for this chapter. I'm confident you're going to do well. When we start chapter 9, we are going to be working on how do fractions and decimals relate. So until then, may the numbers always be in your favor.